Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tour Talk. Tacticam Fisheye cameras make this podcast possible. Tacticam. This is the company that offers high-resolution action cameras for about half of what the other guys charge. Tacticam also has a full lineup of accessories, including a replaceable lens system that allows you to go from a standard lens to a wide-angle 180-degree view or to a mini zoom. We are incorporating a couple of fisheye cameras with the screw-on interchangeable lenses that allow you to modify the viewing angle of your fisheye into this podcast. The Fisheye Combo lens pack is a set of two lenses, an ultra-wide lens and a mini zoom lens to get all the right angles. Camera 1 features a mini zoom that allows you to capture high quality from distance. Camera 2 features the ultra-wide lens that allows you to see almost 180 degrees.
Chasing man, it shows how.
Koppel Outfitters specializes in adventure gear. Anything you need for getting outside, Koppel Outfitters has it and more. Go have an adventure now. Happy 4th of July, everybody. I hope you and yours have a safe and sane day celebrating our nation's independence. Safe and sane. What is that? For the longest time, I thought people were wishing us a safe, insane day. So what should I do? Have a safe, crazy day? Speaking of crazy, what kind of Frankenstein's laboratory is the St. Lawrence River? Major League Fishing's Bass Pro Tour just completed Stage 5 of their tour, and congratulations to Jacob Wheeler on his dominant performance in winning the event. He clearly outlasted the rest of the field. Consider these numbers. Wheeler caught 111 scoreable bass in just 3 days of fishing, weighing 351 pounds and 1 ounce. Remember, Wheeler won his group, so he didn't have to fish in the knockout round. On day 1 of his group, he caught 47 scoreable fish for 165 pounds. In 450 minutes of fishing, which is what the 2.5 hour periods adds up to, Wheeler caught a scoreable bass every 9 minutes and 30 seconds. On championship day, under difficult windy conditions, Wheeler only caught 35 fish that weighed 129 pounds, but that still works out to a keeper fish every 12 minutes. Jeff Sprague, who had to fish the knockout round and finished second, fished 4 days. He caught 120 fish for 385 pounds. 3,876 scoreable bass, that means they had to be 2 pounds or better, caught over the 3 rounds of this event. Unbelievable. And what's probably even more unbelievable is you got the feeling in watching that event that these pros didn't touch, didn't harm, didn't put a dent or do anything to harm that population. That place, the St. Lawrence River, is an unbelievable fish factory. Starting with day 1, we saw anglers laying on their bellies on the decks of their boats, looking down through these bizarre upside-down traffic cones. When a fish bit, the angler would use an awkward backward hook set and put down the traffic cone, stand up, and start fighting the fish. It was the strangest thing to see so many guys doing this. JT and Marty, the analysts on the webcast, were quick to tell us that these strange-looking cone-shaped devices are called floggers. Checking with some of my inside sources, I learned that these devices have a watertight lens, allowing the angler to get kind of a glass-bottom boat effect to see what's going on underwater. Apparently, the pros tend to bring them out for these smallmouth spawning events because smallmouth tend to spawn in deeper water and are very hard to see. It was interesting to see on day 2 of both Group A and Group B qualifying rounds the number of homemade floggers that showed up the next day, because guys that didn't have them on day 1 made sure they had them on day 2. Always wanting to be on top of the current technology in fishing, I went directly to Amazon and ordered a flogger. Those of you who know me know that I'm always looking for the next thing that's going to give me a little bit of an advantage. If it's new and if it's performance enhancing, count me in. Amazon is such an amazing company. Within 48 hours, my flogger was delivered to my home address right there on the front porch. However, my flogger looked a little different than the one Marty and JT were talking about on television. And it didn't arrive in discreet packaging. Try explaining that to the missus. Maybe we should call this something different. Upon further review, I discovered that what I really wanted was a Novarate jointed viewing scope. Scientists call it a bathoscope. This is the familiar traffic cone looking device that many of the pros were using this week on the St. Lawrence River. Thanks a lot, JT and Marty. That flogger thing created some controversy at the old homestead when it arrived. And while I'm on my soapbox, and I am on my soapbox, this week's event brought out the usual number of people complaining about professional tournament organizations scheduling tournaments on top of spawning fish. It sounds like a noble argument to make. The narrow-viewed, under-researched opinion is that tournament fishing during the spawn disrupts the reproductive process and can damage the fish population. Hearing these complaints remind me that our society has 2 different groups that seek to affect our outdoor traditions. We have environmentalists. These are people who are concerned with or who advocate for the protection of the environment. These groups include PETA, Fish Field Organization, the Defenders of Wildlife. These groups seek to protect animal rights. I said animal rights through the use of social media, fighting government programs that fund hunting and fishing, and in some cases through the use of ecoterrorism. And we have conservationists. These are people who act for the protection and preservation of the environment and wildlife. Every angler and hunter who purchases a license, the purchase of hunting and fishing licenses ensures that money will be spent on the preservation of our resources. Bass Club members who get involved in lake restoration projects by building habitat and other lake improvement projects. And bass tournament organizations who spend countless dollars on live release boats, careful handling processes, and endless projects that ensure fisheries are better off when they leave than when they arrive. And if you're still not convinced, unchecked populations of wildlife have a way of destroying themselves. If every bass spawn resulted in 100% survival of the hatch, within a short time, you would see severe reduction of the food chain and you'd wonder where all the big ones went. Let's make this point clear. If you fish for bass, largemouth or smallmouth, during the winter, the spring, even in the early summer up north, you are fishing for spawning fish. While the fish may not all be on beds during that period, they are either fueling up for the spawn, spawning, or they are eating to recuperate after the spawn. So unless you're willing to put down your rods for 5 or 6 months, you are fishing for spawning fish. And let's also not kid ourselves by saying tournament organizations should not fish during the spawning months. That would mean you'd have to fish your tournaments in the fall. Hey everybody, check this out from Tacticam Fisheye. As mentioned earlier, we did have one event this week, the Bass Pro Tour Stage 5 at the St. Lawrence River, and what a smash fest this thing was. There were so many fish caught, and it was wire-to-wire action. So many lead changes, you know, that Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour format where every fish counts. You literally could not turn away for a minute because the lead would change and you'd miss out on something pretty exciting. Again, congratulations to Jacob Wheeler. His 35 fish weighed 129 pounds. His big fish was a 606 smallmouth. What a beast. What a beast. Second place, Jeff Sprague with 100 pounds. He had 26 fish in his 3 periods of fishing for 100 pounds, 6 ounces. Skeet Reach finishes third, 31 fish for 91 pounds, 1 ounce. Adrian Avina finishes in fourth with 28 fish for 86 pounds, 15 ounces. And Brant Erler finishes in fifth with 27 fish. He also catches 86 pounds, 15 ounces. It's just an amazing format that pits angler against angler. Nobody can take time to rest. I mentioned earlier that Wheeler's day one was the best day of the entire tournament. Wheeler's day one caught an average of 1 fish every 9.5 minutes. That is crazy. His championship day, a little bit slower, but he still caught 1 fish every 12 minutes, and that's just a blistering pace. Considering that a lot of these guys were down on their bellies looking through those floggers. Oh, I'm sorry, the bathoscopes. And to hook a fish required a push-up to get up and fight the fish. You know, for some of these guys, that's a lot of push-ups. That's a lot of physical wear and tear on the body. Just an amazing event. Again, congratulations to Jacob Wheeler on winning that event. Taking a look at the Bass Tour Anglers Podcast Angler of the Year race. What is the Bass Tour Anglers Podcast Angler of the Year race? Well, really quickly, we follow the top pros in the country. The top pros in the country fish the Bass Pro Tour. They fish the BASS Elite Series, and they fish a lot of other events as well. Many of these pros will fish a Bass Pro Tour event. They'll fish a Major League Fishing Pro Circuit event. They'll fish Toyota Series events. Many of the BASS Elite Series pros will fish, obviously, the Elite Series, but they'll also fish the Open events. And some of these pros, particularly in the West, will fish Wild West bass. They'll fish wand bass. We follow all the tours that the top anglers fish, and we compile points based upon how they do. To see our scoring criteria, please go to our website, bass2anglers.com. You can certainly see the rules that we have. You can see our scoring criteria. You can see our top 10 standings. You can see our standings 1 through 3,000. There's like 3,500 anglers fishing pro tournaments, and we've got them all logged on this website. Again, BassTourAnglers.com. We also have all the results logged. We're covering 63 events this year, and we are about 2/3 of the way through. There's a few events left, maybe 12, 13, 14 events left, and we're going to be right there at the very end to crown a definitive Angler of the Year based upon how they have performed in all these events. So let's take a look at this top 10 right now. As he has been for most of the season, Dakota Hebert still leads. He's fished 14 events. He has scored in 14 events. You need to be in the top 50% of your field to score in our Bass 2 Anglers Podcast Angler of the Year race. Dakota Hebert has scored in 14 events this year. He has 608 points. In second place is Bass Pro Tour Pro Michael Neal. He has scored in 10 events this season. He has 495 points. Jimmy Washam is in third. He has scored in 9 events. He has 489 points. Ryan Salzman, another Major League Fishing Pro Circuit pro, who also fishes a lot of Toyota Series events. Anyway, Ryan Salzman is in fourth place with 444 points. In fifth place, another Bass Pro Tour pro, Skeet Reese, who has scored in 10 events this year. He has 443 points. In sixth, John Cox. Get this. John Cox has scored in 17 events this year. 17 events. That's mind-boggling. He's also fished the Classic. That's an 18th event. It's a non-scoring event for us. But, my gosh, 17 events scored in. He has 430 points. He is in sixth place. Bobby Lane, another Bass Pro Tour pro, has scored in 10 events. 424 points this year. Patrick Walters, the BASS Elite Series Pro, has fished many open events. He's scored in 10 events this year. He has 413 points. Cody Meyer, another Bass Pro Tour pro who also fishes Major League Fishing Pro Circuit. He has scored in 14 events. He has 411 points. And Justin Lucas making his first appearance in the top 10. He is a Major League Fishing Bass Pro Tour pro as well as a Major League Fishing Pro Circuit angler. He's scored in 10 events, 382 points. This race has been going on all season. We see this week a lot of first-time guys in the top 10 this week. Justin Lucas, his first appearance. Cody Meyer, his first appearance. John Cox, his first appearance. And Skeet Reitz making his first appearance in the top 10 this week.
Koppel Outfitters wants you to go have an adventure now. Koppel Outfitters specializes in adventure gear. Anything you need for getting outside, Koppel Outfitters has it and more. Go have an adventure now.
We have just one event going on this week. Tournament season starting to thin out a little bit. We've still got quite a few events, but they're just not all stacked up on top of each other like they have been. This week we have a BASS Elite Series event at Lake Champlain. Figures to be another smallmouth smash fest. Wonder if we'll see the bathoscopes that we saw with Major League Fishing event last week. As you can imagine, it's going to be an exciting event, and we'll be watching it and keeping track of it for you, and we'll have the results next week on this show. Until next week, keep those live vests zipped and clipped, and we will talk to you again very soon.
Hi folks. I don't always remember to ask you to subscribe and to like the videos that you see on our YouTube channel, but it does help. So if you could, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and help us out. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Young man, take a look at me now.